Hello and welcome to Pressing Buttons. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and we got another great week, another great episode of Pressing Buttons coming at you. Look at that, nailed the catchphrase. Thanks for joining us this week. Quick little tidbit. Thanks everybody who joined us on Thursday for the Game Awards. It was an amazing time had by all. There was a lot of contests, a lot of content that was also seen, and
A lot of skin.
a lot of skin showing towards the end. So if you missed that, make sure to check out our Twitch channel for the video. I think we're gonna download the video and upload it on the YouTube channel. We'll see if it needs
I
to
don't
be
know
saved.
what's this wee shit. I think that's something. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, you lazy fuck! But yeah, we
I'll
had a
figure it
great.
out.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy.
I know.
We had a great time. Congrats to our Discord winners for their shirts. Hoochie Daddy Migs, Logan, Octopus Nuts 69, Brooklyn Dad, and FC. So congrats to those 5 guys on winning some shirts. I sent everybody a message. So make sure you get back to me. So far I've only gotten one back. I might have to do another redrawing for those other 4 people. You guys obviously want these shirts. These are cool shirts. New design coming up. You want to get your hands on these before anybody else. So
I think give them 2 weeks. If
Yeah.
there's no response in 2 weeks, you redraw.
I gotta pick up some new people who probably will be people I know anyways. All right, but that's it on my end for the little thank yous on the stream. It was a good stream, so hopefully we can do more in the future. The next one we're planning to do is a Street Fighter 6. If we both, Nick is gonna be in the beta because he was in the first beta, and I signed up for the second one. So hopefully I get picked for the second one, and we will do some streaming of me kicking Nick's ass.
No way. And that's on the 16th, right? So that's hopefully you should be getting an email in the next few days. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed.
And then we can probably stream on the weekend. But yeah, now let's start the show. We're just going to kind of recap all the game announcements that they offered for the Game Awards. Obviously not all of them, because some of them they didn't really show much, or might not be super interested in, but they did have a lot of world premieres, which was super funny. I think by my count at the end of the night, it said it was 26 world premieres. Some of them were brand new world premieres. Some of them were just more videos of games that were already announced. So take that how you will, if it's a world premiere or not. But Jeff Keighley seems to think so. So I agree with the guy.
You know, what is a world premiere? Really pushing the boundaries of what that means.
Yeah, we'll have to nail the definition at some point. All right, let's get started. The first thing Nick wanted to do is he wanted to acknowledge that he won. We had a little contest going on based on our predictions from the previous episode of which games were going to win each category, and I was winning most of the night, and towards the end, Nick came back, ended up winning by 2, and we had a little side bet going that whoever lost was going to take their shirt off. So that's how I ended up without a shirt at the end of the stream.
Yeah, it was a real roller coaster of emotions because I was losing the whole night. Basically, I was behind like 1 or 2 basically the whole time, and I think it was my faith in Final Fantasy
14. I was so pissed
It came through.
just because he was delayed in his video, so I would know the answer. It was just pissing me off.
I think it was that and like Kirby. I think Kirby was the other one that was kind of
That pushed it through.
yeah. Because the ones that you won that I didn't win, like those were like my second. You know, like I think Arcane was maybe the one where I was like, I should have just picked Arcane because I was pretty sure that was going to win, but I was just like,
You wanted
I just wanted Cyberpunk to win,
Edge Runners to win. Yeah.
So it didn't pan out for me with Cyberpunk, but it did pan out with me with Final Fantasy 14. So, you know, I guess it worked out in the end. But yeah, I felt good. I was able to keep my shirt on.
Congrats to you. You have bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
Yeah. All right. So the first game that we wanted to talk about is Hades 2. They announced it during the Game Awards, sequel to Hades. Very popular, very great dungeon brawler adventure what's the word? Metrovania,
Rogue Light,
roguelite
Roguelike or Roguelite. I can never keep track, but Rogue
with
something.
yeah, with randomly generated levels every time you play it. So obviously Hades got a lot of awards last year as well. When it came out, it was very prominently featured in the Game Awards, and it looks like it's more of the same. It looks like the art style's about the same. The combat will be the same. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be happy just because it was, like I said, a very popular game and everybody liked it and enjoyable. And it's from Supergiant. And Supergiant always makes good games, good quality games. Are you
This is
looking
their
forward to
first.
this one?
This is their first direct sequel, right? I think they've always
Yes.
done
Yes. They
an
had
engineering. Yeah.
Bastion. They had. I forget the other ones, but Bastion. They had the one with the girl with the sword that
Transistor or
talks.
something,
Yeah,
or
Transistor.
okay, okay,
And then they had like a basketball type game that was actually like a strategy game.
yeah, yeah. So first direct sequel. Yeah, it looks cool. Like I'm totally down for just more of the same. So I'll be looking forward to that. As like it took a while for me to kind of register exactly what it was. Like it was, I think they announced it was from Supergiant, so we knew it was a Supergiant game as the trailer was unfolding. And then part of me was like, oh, maybe it's gonna do like a God of War type thing where maybe it tries to do some other type of mythology, but it seems like it's. I think the main character is basically Agrias, who's the main character in Hades 1. I think it's his sister.
Yeah.
I think that's right. So yeah, pretty much the same universe. Yeah, well, let's see. See what I played. I played the shit out of that game for like 3 weeks straight. So I would need to check how many hours I put into it. But it was one of those things where like I was dialed in hard for a while, and then I just kind of felt like I was done with it, and I never picked it back up again. But good to do that again with a sequel. And then the new ingredient for me is the Steam Deck, where again I don't feel like I necessarily want to go back to Hades 1 and play it on Steam Deck, but I think with Hades 2, I think that's going to be like probably one of the best titles you could possibly have on Steam Deck. So I think that'd be good as well.
Yeah, I myself didn't finish it as well. I got hard stuck on the Minotaur, but then I just kind of started playing something else. I'm pretty sure I could go.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could go back into it and just restart it and kind of pick up the groove. I just kind of moved on from it because I was tired of just all those roguelite, random dungeon generator ones. Even though it was a great game, I had just played a lot of them during that time period, so I just got bored, and I didn't want to like struggle too much.
Just weren't good enough.
I gotta get good. All right, next one, moving on, is Judas. It's the new game by Ken Levine, the creator of BioShock. Looked very, very much like BioShock. You have with the powers, with the characters. It looked wonderful, but the industry itself has a love-hate relationship with Ken Levine, so we'll see how that turns out. But the game itself looks amazing, and as long as it probably has like the quirky, weird story that BioShock did with Andrew Ryan and the Big Daddies and the Little Sisters and all that stuff, I think he might have another hit on his hands. So people will still put up with him. What do you think? Did you like that one?
Yeah, I think a lot of the kind of opinions around. I think it's Ken Levine, but Levine, whatever. But
is he related to Adam Levine?
Maybe, yeah. All that's. I think that kind of came out certainly after BioShock, but I think also kind of after BioShock Infinite. So I think this will be kind of his first big game ever since like a lot of that stuff kind of coming out around the studios he was at and kind of working conditions and him being kind of like a difficult person to work for and all that. So we'll just have to wait and see whether the game, like how he kind of gets this new game out in market in light of that whole situation. But yeah, I mean, I know BioShock Infinite was I would say it was like pretty polarizing.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Like I think it generally skewed like people liked it, but so maybe like a bit kind of above average. I can't remember what the Metacritic score was, but I do remember like a lot of people coming out being like, this game sucks, and the game was way too overhyped, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember that, but I enjoyed the heck out of the game. I thought it was
I loved it. Like
yeah.
I played BioShock 1 and 3. I skipped 2. I think that was done by a different studio
Yeah.
anyway. And then I really enjoyed BioShock Infinite. So and yeah, this like it looks exactly like what you would expect a sequel to that to be, but I think it just takes place in a very different setting. So again, it might sound like a little bit more of the samey, but I'm happy with that.
Yeah, man, it had some real interesting characters, so can't wait to find out more about it. We'll see within the coming months and the year, and see what else they can show us. Moving on, Suicide Squad. This one we've definitely been anticipating. Obviously, it got delayed until next year, but we did get a date. It seems to be that it's going to be coming out in May of 2023, so that's pretty exciting. They just showed a little trailer with Harley Quinn, Boomerang, Deadshot, and what's
Isn't it like
Shark?
Killer Shark or
Killer
something,
Shark. There you
or-
go. Yeah,
yeah.
I was trying to remember what was the name? Something Shark.
You're gonna
Yeah,
say bird person or shark person, weren't
Shark
you?
person. Yeah.
The Rick and Morty influence.
Yeah, but it definitely just showed those characters, and then obviously it also showed Batman, which is the last voice performance in a video game by Kevin Conroy, who sadly passed away. They did a nice little "We'll miss you, Kevin Conroy" at the end of that, so that was pretty cool. So can't wait to play the game. It's hotly anticipated. I actually wanted to see some sort of gameplay trailer, which they still haven't showed. I think the one that we got at Summer Games Fest was the only one, and that seemed to be a little bit like Sunset Overdrive. So I kind of want to see more of it, but it's Rocksteady. They've always been good with the Batman franchise, so I think they will be good with this Suicide Squad that they've been working on. And the only good things can come out of delays, because that means they can work on the game more and fix any issues that it might have. Any input on this?
I mean, not really. I think it was a good, kind of thank you to Kevin Conroy. I think there was some Twitter speculation whether Rocksteady actually had kind of a different trailer in mind for the show, and then with Kevin Conroy passing away, like maybe they kind of shifted things around so that they could kind of pay tribute to him. So I think that's nice. It would have been good to see some gameplay, but we'll just have to wait. Was that the first time they announced a date, or?
I believe so, like a
that?
firm date.
Okay. I guess we'll get into this maybe in our next episode, or maybe we'll touch on it at the end of this episode. But the middle of next year is insane in terms of big games. It's like,
I think we'll have to do a whole. 2023 is looking stacked.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good year for us.
Yeah.
All right, next we got Earthblade, which is a new game by the studio that made Celeste, which is a 2D platformer. Very well received. I myself have not played Celeste, but I know it got great reviews, a lot of praise everywhere. And this one looks pretty cool too. I like the art style, pixelated and all that stuff. So might have to pick up Celeste and then play some Earthblade. I know you got this one highlighted. Did you play Celeste?
Oh yeah. It was one of the games I featured when we were talking about gaming accomplishments in one of our prior episodes. So Celeste was one of those games where I think the base game is, I would say, like fairly challenging, and then there's a bunch of they call them like B sides, or I guess there's like A sides, B sides, and C sides, and I think maybe they did some ones after that. I can't remember, but then they have like extremely hard levels like after you kind of beat the main game. So and then I beat all those too. So it's like it's a game that I invested quite a bit in to fully complete it. Really enjoyed it. Very interesting story, which you don't really see too often in a lot of games. So yeah, I mean, this looks great. I actually don't really have. Obviously, I saw the trailer, but I don't really know too much around kind of like the story or kind of core gameplay mechanics. But if it's from the same studio that did Celeste, then I'm definitely on board with it. So I'll be looking out for this one.
Yeah, definitely another one we gotta mark on the calendar for whenever that comes out.
We gotta get you to do a Celeste stream.
I'm down. I'm down. Well, I'll just have to purchase it and doing some free time.
Okay.
Get some
I mean,
free
it's
time.
like it's like $5.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty cheap. It might even be on Game Pass. So you just you gotta get Game Pass finally.
Oh my god. Maybe we'll see. Next one is one that Jeff Keighley was very hyped for. There was two instances during the Game Awards that
Sometimes he gets too excited where it's like he looks like he's gonna explode.
he was about to sploosh.
Hopefully he's got some diapers on or something, dude. Like he
was ready. And it's Death Stranding 2. Obviously, he's a very good friend of Hideo Kojima, a big supporter. He always has him at the show, and Hideo always shows something new. So there have been rumors, also some teasing from Kojima about Death Stranding 2, but this is the official confirmation. I still haven't played part 1, so I don't know what the hell I saw in the trailer, but like Nick said, you don't really need to understand it that much. Like no spoilers.
The joke is like I beat Death Stranding 1 and I had no idea what's going on in the second trailer, so I don't think it's like spoiling anything, and it's not surprising at all that you're wildly confused watching it. So
all I saw is like
a signature, Kojima trailer for sure.
All I saw was like Octopus Baby, the lady from James Bond, Norman Reedus is back. So I'm gonna play part 1 because I know you liked it, you really enjoyed it as a different game experience than your normal games.
I think you'll love it.
Okay, yeah, I got
it. This is like definitely. I think another game that was like fairly polarizing, where people were like criticizing it for being like a quote walking simulator, and like you didn't really do anything, and there's not much combat, and the story is kind of wacky. So it definitely got a bunch of criticism, and I actually was. I don't know if it did that well commercially. I'm sure it did fine, but it wasn't like some giant commercial success. So there's part of me that was thinking that maybe because of that, and I think now that Kojima's on his own, he has his own studio. Like maybe he would want to operate in a way where he's just like new game every time. No more sequels. So I was kind of just wasn't really sure whether we were actually going to see a sequel to Death Stranding 2 or to Death Stranding, but here it was. Yeah, it looks great. I'm on board. I have like no idea what else to possibly say about the trailer. Like you really just got to play the first game and have faith in Kojima, delivering something pretty wild.
And this one seems to be a quick turnaround from part 1 to part 2. Obviously, it's a lot of the same characters, so you probably don't need to do too much. But I'm excited. I'm excited to play part 1 and then not understand it, so I could play part 2.
Yeah, but so just because you're like a very like list based collecting
love me some
guy,
lists, yeah.
I think I could see you like really getting locked into this one.
All right. I'll share my experiences when I start playing it.
Yeah.
And then the next one that we want to talk about was the other one that Jeff Keighley really splooshed on. And that's Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. We had talked about this before when there was a leak saying that From Software was already kind of almost done working on their next game, and obviously the rumor was Armored Core, just because they hadn't done one in a while and they wanted to try something else. And they didn't show any gameplay really. It was just a trailer, a cinematic trailer. But what more can you say? It's From Software. It's Armored Core, mechs, third-person mech action. I'm excited, especially with all the advances in the engines and gameplay mechanics and all that stuff, and all that they've learned from like every game that they've made since the last Armored Core. Honestly, I only played the last one I remember vividly playing is like Armored Core 2, and I had fun. Like I said, mechs with guns and all that stuff was fun, but it was obviously an outdated game at that point. So I'm excited for this, and obviously it's From Software.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, the trailer looked great. I actually don't even remember if I've ever played an Armored Core game. Like maybe going back to the PS2 era, like I might have messed around with one of them for like a little bit, but so I actually had to go back and check out some gameplay from the old games just to like jog my memory around like what it actually is. But it's basically just like a third person action game where you're playing as a mech. So I love mechs and sci-fi stuff. So and I would actually need to see what Miyazaki's role, if any, was in any of the older Armored Core games. But I think this will definitely be like the first Armored Core game where it's kind of been like, post Soulsborne, era of games. So it'll be interesting to see how much of those games influence the Armored Core, kind of gameplay mechanics.
And also the open worldness of Elden Ring, like what that can do. So
yeah,
definitely it's going to be an interesting game.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely excited.
All right.
No Sekiro 2 though.
Yeah, no.
There was rumors that there was going to be some Sekiro 2 stuff. I personally am more excited about this than a Sekiro 2.
Yeah, maybe I love Sekiro, but I think they told a story they wanted to tell in one game. It's not like Dark Souls where you just start anew or whatever, or Bloodborne. I think Sekiro told its story and it's fine. But if there's another Sekiro eventually, I will also play it. So I don't care either way.
Yeah. They've been getting. I think it was Sony, right? I think Sony invested in From Software, and I think maybe they had some other investors. So
yeah, Sony I believe a Chinese company.
I can't remember which one. So I wonder if there's a world where, they must be scaling up in a way where they can just work on multiple titles concurrently as opposed to one every few years. And maybe we're already seeing a bit of that where I think Armored Core is supposed to come out. Was that next year too, or?
I believe so. They didn't mention it specifically, but it's probably due for end of 2023.
Yeah. So my hope is it's that, and they're probably working on some meaty Elden Ring DLC, and then maybe something else in like very early stages.
Maybe some Bloodborne for PS5. We'll see.
Just fucking PC port of Bloodborne. Like, just give me. Like, I still haven't played Bloodborne. Like, it's insane to me, but I just can't. I'm waiting for a PC version.
You gotta buy a PS4 and just play that on a regular PS4.
No, I have it.
I know. Bear through it.
No, I can't do it. It's like I tried, man, like so many times. I just can't do it.
All right. So there you heard it. Nick wants a Bloodborne PC port. Make it happen, Sony and From Software. All right, next one, we got a brand new Final Fantasy 16 trailer along with the release date, which they already announced it was going to be summer of 23. Still looking amazing. There was a lot more combat in this one. Obviously, from the details that Yoshi P has been saying, this one's going to be mainly a one-character kind of base game where sometimes you'll party up with other people, but it looks like most of the time you'll be playing by yourself. We saw more icon action, which are basically the new summons, what they call the summons now. The game looks amazing. The fighting mechanics, the gameplay mechanics look amazing. I can't wait to try it, man. Can't wait to try it. That's all I can say about it.
Best trailer of the show, in my opinion.
Oh, there was a lot of good trailers.
There's a lot of good.
I can't say if it was the best trailer of the show.
We'll get into, I guess, maybe the recap, but so I don't want to spoil it too much. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of great trailers. But for me, this is trailer of the show, and I mean, I've probably watched it like 4 or 5 times at this point, and it's just like what you imagine the next generation of video games to be. Like, you're just like, what the like. You're just like consistently like blown away by what's happening on the screen.
But you could say that about every Final Fantasy trailer, because like they always bring it, especially when it's like a cinematic trailer. It's always looking good.
So, but I think you're right. But I think there was a period of time where, like, yes, that was always the case. But I feel like there was kind of that kind of like went away for a few of like the mainline Final Fantasy games. So I almost kind of feel like this is almost like a return to form of mainline Final Fantasy, kind of just like operating at a different level than everyone else. So I might have just gone like full fanboy, but I mean it was awesome. So
hey man, let them know. Let them know.
They always do. They've always like blown people away with like cinematics, but because this was like they incorporated gameplay, and we've had a peek into gameplay before, so to me it wasn't just like some crazy movie, like cinematic thing that like looks great. Like it's both.
All right, just 2023, man. 2023 is all I can say. Next one we want to talk about was Star Wars Jedi Survivor. That one itself is looking amazing. Definitely, we discussed in the co-stream that our hope for this one is, since it's going to be the second one that Respawn has worked on, that's a third-person action game that they've definitely learned as much as they can from the first one that they made. And like I said, the only qualms I had with the first one was really the combat. It just didn't feel fluid. It was glitchy. The strings weren't there. But like we said, it was their first third-person action game, so I'm pretty sure that they've leveled up. And it's going to be amazing. And it looks like the story is going to be amazing. There's going to be new characters that are going to be introduced. A lot of force powers you're going to be using. So more Jedi, please. See, in the Star Wars universe, I'd rather play the Jedi than watch something about Jedis.
I was just going to say, like, I feel like you've been such a Jedi hater with the TV side of things. What you're saying from a...
It's because they're too pure. They're like, that's why they got messed up by Palpatine, because they were like, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, this and that, our magic powers. And
is that what they sound like?
Or? Yeah, and then they got screwed. Yeah, that's what Anakin sounds like.
He actually does kind of sound like that. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, Jedis might not be the best to watch just because they want to be all peaceful and stuff, but in terms of playing a video game about them, sign me up, baby. And obviously, Stig, who was the director for the last one, again the director for this one, he also directed one of the God of War, so still in good hands. Next thing, we got The Lords of the Fallen, which is another Souls-like game, which is the sequel to Lords of the Fallen. So they just added a "the" in the front, so it's a new one.
That confused me.
It's a very confusing title.
But it looked awesome.
No, it does look great. This one we can't really say much just because it was a lot of CG mixed in with some gameplay, I think, but just early gameplay. But it's a Soulsborne, and this podcast loves their Soulsborne.
You played the first one, right?
Yeah, I played the first one, beat it. It was pretty fun. Pretty fun stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I think I probably won't play that one, but this one looked good. I think maybe basically exactly the same as the Jedi game, where I'm probably not going to go back and play Fallen Order. I'll just wait for Survivor and play the more perfected game.
Yeah.
Wait for the sequel.
All right. And the next one we want to talk about is Tekken 8. They did a quick little trailer. They showed off some characters. They showed off Paul. They showed off King. They showed off Jace 9. Is that the name of the robot? Jack 9, something like that.
Jack 7.
Jack 7. And then they showed off Jin. But it looks good. It looks Tekken. It seems to be that it has a new fighting drive system, so that's going to be interesting. Obviously, with these fighting games, with them coming out, you kind of want to see what differentiates one from the other besides the characters, and the fighting system that they use is obviously one of them, and that's good because you get different flavors. Where like Guilty Gear is not the same as Street Fighter, which is not the same as Tekken, which is not the same as Injustice, and so on and so on. So it's good to have a lot of variety with the fighting game mechanics in all these games. And then next one, Diablo 4. They just showed like a little CG trailer, and Halsey.
Yeah, Halsey. We had a live performance.
She was rocking it out a little with her whole golf outfit, and Jeff Keighley made a point to mention like Halsey like 3 times. So I'm guessing she's doing like a big collaboration with Diablo 4, maybe with the music or something like that, because they seem to be pushing her and Diablo 4 together at the same time. So that was kind of funny.
There's always like some music crossover. Like I think with I think it was Churches has a collaboration with Death. Like there's like a track they do in Death Stranding. So there's always like some big artist that's always featured in a game somewhere, and then Jeff always goes out of his way to make sure that they're performing at the Game Awards.
Yeah. The next one we got Remnant from the Ashes sequel. I played the first one, really enjoyed it. It's another Soulsborne, but this one had like guns and you scrounge around and build it. Didn't finish it, but I enjoyed it really well. Hopefully they keep the same mechanics that made the game enjoyable and just up the ante and bigger bosses, better world mechanics. This one was also very it was randomly generated each area. Obviously, it would kind of stay the same in terms of where the boss was and all that. But if you died, the paths would switch a little bit. So that was very interesting from a full-fledged Soulsborne. You didn't get to play the first one, right?
No, I never got around to playing that one.
We might have.
I actually don't even know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Like I may need to check out a video just to
honestly, I think we should pick it up. It was free which is funny. It's heavily discounted these days, and it was free on the Epic Game Store at one point. Also free on PlayStation Plus, but it does have the co-op, and it does it really well. So I think we should try it out, just because we like Soulsborne and we like games that we could do co-op. So
does this one have more of like it's more shooting focused? I vaguely remember saying maybe someone playing it with like using shotguns and
it's shooting focused, but it's not like you're shooting Call of Duty guns where you have unlimited ammo and all that stuff. It makes it where it's, even though you have guns, it's like not easy.
Okay.
Like Bloodborne. In Bloodborne, you obviously had your Wonderbuss, but you weren't like using it all the time. All right. Next one, which I thought was really interesting. I don't know if you remember this one, Banishers, Ghost of New Eden. That one seems to be like a third person, and your partner is your wife ghost that's dead or something, and you go around killing things. I just thought it looked cool, and it's an interesting concept.
Here I go killing again.
Big
got the old ball and chain with me.
Even in death, you can't keep away. But it just looked interesting. It was a trailer. It looked like at the end they showed like a little gameplay for like a brief 5-10 seconds or whatever. So I'll keep an eye out on that one. Just wanted to shout it out there for the people. if they want to take a look. Next one, Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. That one looked interesting because I always thought the Warhammer world was interesting. They looked very heavy sized mechs, like also very Gears of War type. And this one it looked action packed. I never played Space Marine 1, but I think it was one of the ones that we talked about that got good reviews. And obviously they're making a part 2. So that one looks like an interesting pickup or a nice bargain bin down the road.
Yeah, yeah. I've never played any of the Warhammer games, but I know Space Marine 1 was a fan favorite. So, and a lot of people are asking for a sequel to it. So it's cool to see it. Yeah, I think for me, I'll play it at some point, but it doesn't need to be day one. It'll probably be a. I'm just gonna say
Game
it'll
Pass.
be a Game Pass. Yeah,
I
it'll be a
knew
Game Pass
I
title,
knew that
yeah.
was coming. I knew that was coming. All right.
I need to get like a soundboard for it. And
We'll see. We'll see if 2023 is the year Game Pass, because 2022 was not the year Game Pass. Actually, it was the opposite because people started dumping it. But maybe with 2023 and all these titles coming out, it'll be a resurgence.
yeah, that's right.
All right. Next game we want to talk about, Crime Boss Rocky City. And this one was, I would say it surprised me the most just because it was the most ridiculous, but also like interesting. There's a lot of stars in there, movie stars. You got Danny Trejo, you got Michael Mann, you got
Michael Madsen.
Michael Madsen,
Yeah.
not Michael Mann. Michael Mann
Mann's the
wrote
director, right?
he wrote Heat and directed it. Michael Madsen
Wasn't Chuck Norris too, or
Well, I was
that make
gonna
sense?
say Chuck Norris last.
Oh, okay,
Well,
okay.
you got to build up to Chuck Norris. So obviously Chuck Norris. What's the guy Hooker? What's his first name from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah,
but I know you're. I know
the
you're
the
talking
guy
about.
Yondu from Guardians of the
Roker,
Galaxy.
or nah, I can't remember.
Yeah, Michael Roker.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Kim Basinger. Basically, it's a bunch of movie stars that apparently were like, let's make a Grand Theft Auto kind of clone-ish thing with a bunch of bosses. So it was just funny. Vanilla Ice is in there as well. Very interesting. Also very Grand Theft Auto vibes, very heist vibes. I definitely want to see more. Definitely does look like a Game Pass title. Throw it in there. So maybe Nick will be playing it, but it was definitely it kind of surprised me just because of the amount of star power behind it. Any thoughts on this?
Nope.
No?
I don't even think this is a Game Pass title for me. I think this is a never ever play it.
Never ever play it. Just
Yeah.
wait for the memes.
This was the one that was like, it's a bunch of celebrities and let's pay people,
Well,
pay Jeff to promote it, and
we'll see. I want it to be a hit, and I want it to sell so many copies where you have to talk about it and actually play it.
I mean, hey, look, I'm happy. I say this all the time. Like, I'm happy to be wrong, and I'll acknowledge
Are you
that.
though?
And
Are you?
yeah, no, I'm happy to be wrong. It's just that I'm rarely wrong. That's the
Well, okay. All right.
no. Look, if the game's awesome, then I'm going to play it. Like, it's that easy. But like, I just don't get the sense that that's actually going to happen. But
No belief.
we'll see.
All right, and then the last one that we want to talk about, big announcement, Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty DLC. They announced that the star of the DLC is going to be Idris Elba. I recognize the voice. Everybody got super excited. He looks really great in the game. This one, obviously, already having Keanu Reeves in the game, that's a lot of star power. You add Idris Elba, that's even more star power. It seems that he's like some sort of police agent or something like that, some sort of law enforcement agent, undercover or whatever. Again, set in the world of Cyberpunk, it seems to be. It's going to be played in a new area, so that's going to be pretty interesting. Hopefully, with all the updates that Cyberpunk has received and how well it's gotten, this kind of launches without a hitch. But, you never know. So I'm excited for it, though. I do have to get back into Cyberpunk and play it because I haven't played it really ever since they got all the updates or whatever. I beat it before the updates and I enjoyed it. So I'm pretty sure with the new updates, it's even better. I got to do a fresh run. Obviously, you being a Cyberpunk fan, excited for Idris?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it was his like American accent there, right? So it was more like
Yeah, yeah, it was.
it was the Stacker Pentecost from Pacific Rim. I was like,
Yeah,
is this Stacker? But it's cool to see him in the game. I'm a big fan of his. I think this also comes out. It's DLC, so it's probably not going to be like as like that many hours of content. But I think this is also coming out kind of middle of next year, right?
yeah.
Or
It's and
somewhere
and
around
I
there.
think it's the only DLC. They kind of scrapped everything else. Obviously, there was an announcement, I believe, that they made a couple weeks back or within the last week that they are not doing the multiplayer that they were
Hmm.
planning for it. So you can kind of see that a lot of
Which makes sense because
yeah,
that would not have been.
it doesn't work in the title.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have been that fun.
Yeah. Obviously, they want to focus on the single player stories that they can tell and whatever future series that they're doing. So, want for the multiplayer, but high hopes for some single player. All right, and that does it for all the games that we wanted to discuss. Obviously, there's a lot more that we didn't get to on there, but like we said at the beginning of the episode, 2023 looks to be a stacked year for video games. There's a lot of new releases, new games coming out, a lot of sequels coming out. So we're gonna be entertained for a full year. Nice.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about Among Us at all.
Well, no, that's so. The next thing we wanted to do real quick is we wanted to give our Game Awards observations. So obviously doing the co-stream, really appreciate Jeff. Good friend of ours, friend of the show. Personally emailed us to co-stream, so super hyped about that. But we wanted to talk about a couple things. Maybe we could share a couple tips for Jeff so he can make the show better. One thing being, one thing being, stop showing Among Us. Nick and I were like really, really devastated that they mentioned Among Us about 5 times in the first 10 minutes of the show. It's an old game, obviously, very popular for the time when the pandemic hit, where everybody was inside and they were playing. It was fun, But not 2 years later. Two
Yeah,
years
time to
later, it
move
should be
on.
on there. It's like if you threw Angry Birds up there and you were showing Angry Birds, and
Yeah,
everybody's like,
exactly. Yeah,
"What the hell?"
yeah.
So, so Among Us, don't bring it. The good thing was that they only mentioned it at the beginning of the show. I didn't see it the rest of the show, but they did mention it 5 times too many.
It's like Ronaldo still playing on the Portugal national team.
Yeah, sad stuff.
Time to move on, dude.
The other thing was too many world premieres. Like we discussed, there was a lot of world premieres. On my count, 26. But were they really world premieres? No, because some of the stuff we already knew existed. Just say like gameplay premiere or a new trailer premiere. Don't say a world premiere if we already know that it exists, right?
Yeah, yeah. I feel like this was maybe they've been doing this, or maybe there's been a trend of like calling things world premieres when it's like debatable whether that's actually the case. But I feel like this was the first show where I'm like, wait a minute, this is like a slightly different cinematic trailer of a game that we already know about, or things like that. So I feel like they're you know taking some liberties with what it actually means to be a world premiere. And it just makes you think, like, where did that term even come from? Like, was that? I think it was just like pretty often used in basically every E3. So I think a lot of different parties use it for their events, and maybe it's just kind of become this like
It's lost its shine.
like dick measuring contest where like people are just like, oh, this event needs to have as many world premieres as possible, and then therefore they have this like incentive to just use the term for like literally any video content that's like never been revealed before, where in my mind it was almost always like it was a new game, right? Like it's like a brand new game announcement that you've never heard before. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's lost its shine. You can't world premiere everything, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, at the same time, like I don't know, like what's the solution? Like, does it really matter doesn't really matter that much, other than it just kind of being different than how they've maybe used it in the past. Like, I don't know. I think they could maybe be a little bit more descriptive around, new trailer versus new game announcement versus actual like gameplay reveal. I think gameplay reveal is like another flavor of like announcement that I've seen. So I don't know.
Yeah,
It was funny though. I mean, we were like, oh yeah, maybe like 15 world premieres, or that's what I.
26.
Yeah,
Up to 26.
So like, okay, well, when literally everything they show is a world premiere, then in quotes, then it's going to be a big number.
Yeah. And then the last thing we want to advise Jeff on is your security. And that's pertaining to the last award when Miyazaki went up to get the Elden Ring Game of the Year award. Obviously, everybody knows there was a random kid up there. I knew it immediately as soon as I saw the kid. Nick also kind of was
We
like...
were cringing hard. We were just like, oh my God, no, what's happening? And
what
then
is this kid doing?
I was checking the chat, and like no one was really
Paying attention to it.
saying much. Yeah, and yeah, dude, it's just, it was so uncomfortable.
But it was bad vibes. It stole the moment from Miyazaki because obviously people were paying attention to the kid. Also, he had like a heavy jacket, so you never know. And security didn't really step up until the end. So yeah, step up the security, Jeff. Protect our guys. But that's it. Do you have any other critiques? Any other maybe stuff for Jeff?
No, I mean, I think that's probably it. Like we kind of talked about it on, as we were wrapping up the Twitch stream. I feel like this was one of the better shows that we've had in the last few years. Like I feel like a lot of these, kind of gaming events were just kind of like, some cool stuff, but like nothing getting me like super excited.
Yeah.
So I feel like this was the first one where it's just like, wow, like there's tons of cool shit. Lots of good stuff coming. So not that it's squarely on obviously like these events, like it's a function of game developers, and a lot of them got hit pretty hard with, COVID and all that. So it makes sense that there was going to be like, 12 to 24 months of relative quietness. But I feel like with this event, it's kind of like, there's an inflection point where I think hopefully things are getting back up and running, and there's going to be like lots of new games coming out. So
yeah, I think overall, I think we both agreed that it was a great show. Definitely also the time. I know Jeff Keighley wanted to kind of not have it overextend like it did last year. I think last year went into like the 3.5 hour range. This year it was kept under 3 hours, so that was good. Hopefully next year we get to 2.5. Who knows? And only really like the first speech, Chris Judge, who did amazing work for God of War. I think that was the longest speech, but everything else was kind of nice and tidy, so thanks for that. All right, moving on to some closing thoughts. I really haven't done much this week, just busy week at work. There is a new Destiny season, so I've been playing a lot of that with a new dungeon. It's been really fun. But honestly, I think everybody's just kind of waiting for Lightfall, which is the next big expansion coming out in February. Nick saw a nice little trailer for it. He still doesn't want to play it, but I'm gonna wait for that. But we still got to do the seasonal Destiny stuff, so that's what I'm keeping on. In terms of shows, I haven't really watched anything. Still watching Battlestar Galactica, and I also decided to kind of watch that 70s show because I always enjoyed that. So that's what I'm doing. What are you doing?
Wow. Yeah, we didn't mention Destiny 2 and when we're doing the show recap. Are you just holding out on that, or you just know?
Well, you don't care.
Don't care about it.
Well,
I mean, it looks cool. It's all neon and
yeah, Neon City, baby.
Cyberpunky to a certain degree.
You got the strand powers, riding on shit, using a grappling hook and all that stuff. It looks good. It looks good. I understand. If only it wasn't that hard to get into and get the weapons and level up and all that stuff. Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
wait, real quick. Fortnite. We did play Fortnite. We've been playing Fortnite, and we've been kicking ass in Fortnite. So the hashtag no build, baby, it works. Or minimal building.
We have not played Fortnite. What do you mean?
Well, I played it separately from you, and you played it separately from me. So we've played Fortnite, just not together, and we've won
alright.
separately. That's what I mean.
You made it sound like we're, burning the midnight
Yeah,
oil,
we
playing
never play.
co-op on.
We only do a podcast together. We don't play any video games together at all.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. We play sometimes.
Yeah, just Final Fantasy 14 one time a year ago. Yeah, well, you kind of stole my thunder. I was going to talk about Fortnite. I've been playing it quite a bit. It's the new chapter. It's on the new version of Unreal. It looks incredible. So it's taking advantage of the RTX 3080. The no build mode is awesome. I've been having it's that mode isn't necessarily new. So I played a little bit of that and I liked it. But with this, it's no build mode, the new engine and the new look. Just like
The new perks
combination of
too.
weapons.
The perks are good too. Like they got the new perks. where you can
I
do
was gonna,
different perks.
like I like the perk system. Just like the weapons that are available. Like I just am able to get like a loadout that I really like, pretty often when I'm playing. I really enjoy the hammer. So they have this like shockwave hammer thing where you can, use it to like accelerate yourself around the map or hit people with it or, whatever. So the hammer has been a big, that's been like a game changer. Like I'm kind of worried about liking it so much and then they might just like take it away at some point and then I'll be pissed. But it's a lot of fun, like, hitting yourself into the air and then like floating yourself like on top of someone and just like smashing them. So getting a hammer kill is like basically like the new version of like a Halo like sticky grenade kill. Like it's like the same level of satisfaction for me. So yeah, no, having a really good time. I think that's pretty much it on games. Like, I don't know if I've completely like haven't played God of War at all, which I kind of feel bad for. Like I've gotten distracted 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're not gonna review that anymore. Apparently,
last week the shiny new object was the analog pocket. So I basically just spent all week playing like retro games, and then this most recent week it's been the new chapter of Fortnite. So I've just had some reason to be distracted from playing God of War. So if I can get back into it, I'll eventually get burned out of Fortnite until they do like another big like content drop. So I'll probably go pretty hard on that, get burned out, and then jump back into God of War.
well, also for the holiday break too. The holiday break coming up, you'll probably have more time for that.
Well, no, I'll be on the road or away from my PlayStation, so it's PC only on the road. PC or retro.
Oh man,
I know.
God of War review coming in 2023.
Yeah, honestly, like I think that's like a early 2023 review, just to manage expectations. And then on the TV side, I think you mentioned this in a prior episode, but the White Lotus.
I don't think I ever mentioned
mention
it
it,
as a closing thought or anything, just because,
Okay.
But say your White Lotus thoughts so I could add mine.
So I'm on season 1. I have 1 episode left. I don't know. I think I like it. It's interesting. It basically takes place in a like hotel resort in Hawaii. Like, I think the first season is Hawaii, and I think the second season's like somewhere in Italy.
Yeah.
But basically the concept is like it's just this hotel resort and just all the weirdos who
The weird guests that jumped in there.
Yeah, who find themselves at those places. And the first couple episodes, it takes like an investment to kind of get into it, but my wife was just like, you like basically like you must watch this show. So I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And I don't know, like after like the third episode, there's only 6 episodes, so it's kind of like, you got to get pretty far into it before you decide whether you actually like it or not. But I don't know, some of the characters, like I'm like laughing. I like dark humor and like dark comedy, and some of the characters are great. Like the Steve Zahn character,
Yeah.
and is like probably my favorite. He's like the dad of the one of the families. Like he's he's like so funny, dude.
It's a lot of fucked up characters, and then fucked up stuff happens. I just think it's very bland. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I watched the season. I thought it was okay. I didn't get like anything out of it that I could take with me. Like, oh, this is a great show. It was just people in a resort doing dumb things, and half of the people are like assholes, which is fine. It's like they don't learn anything. You don't learn anything. But I'll have to check out. I'm going to check out season 2 just because.
Yeah.
I heard it's also good. But Aubrey Plaza's in it, and she's pretty good. And a couple other people. So.
Yeah, I would say if it wasn't for the Steve Zahn character, and maybe like one or two, like I probably wouldn't find it like enjoyable at all. But it's like a few characters that are kind of making it okay for me. And I think even my wife's just like, why are you laughing so hard at?
It is very like dark humor, like
it's
dumb,
super dark. It's super
horrible
dark
shit
humor.
happens.
Yeah, it's so I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's kind of like a bit of a curveball relative to like most of the stuff that we watch, where it's like more
happy
sci-fi
shit
and dumb shit. Yeah, it's like it's pretty dark and deals with pretty demented people, but I don't know. I feel like it's just getting, maybe it's just because it's on HBO, but I feel like a lot of my friends talk about the show, so maybe there was like an element of like the FOMO effect where I'm like, oh, well, I guess I just have to watch it just to know like what the hell people are talking about. So, but that happens sometimes. But if I watch 1 or 2 episodes and I don't like it, I'll just I'll stop. But for this one, there was, I think, just enough there for me to stay engaged with it.
Oh, you just gotta watch Andor, man, and that's it.
Yeah,
That's
like
what it is. You have
Andor.
nothing to watch. Watch Andor.
Yeah, I gotta watch Andor.
All right.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's
Is
pretty
that
much
all you
it.
got? All right. Well, join us next week. It's going to be our last episode of the year because we will be taking a holiday break, and we'll be back in 2023. So next week will be the last episode for 2022 before we take our little holiday break to start 2023 right off. I think we're going to do just like a recap of our best stuff of the year, and whatever news will be up. But
So that'll probably be our shortest episode then.
no, because we have a lot of shit. Our shortest episodes are like still long.
I know.
But yeah, and then just maybe some New Year's resolutions for the show we can share with you guys. But yeah, one more, baby. We're gonna hit 46 for 2022.
So you want it to be more retrospective, or I thought maybe we're going to talk around 2023 and what we're actually going to buy and all that stuff.
Well, I think we could do that at the beginning of 2022.
You want to do that at the beginning?
Yeah. Let's end 2022. Let's give 2022 a proper send off. We don't want to talk about next year before
closure. Okay.
Yeah, before we finish the one we're in, man. Can't get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
All right. Thanks again. Thanks for everybody that joined us on the co-stream. Thanks for everybody listening. And we'll see you guys next week. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.